Hello folks and welcome back to another episode of Feed the Beast Revelation 2. So in this episode we're going to take a look at a few things, mostly storage. But I did want to show you that our quarry is completed, and I kind of want to just give you a sample of what a single chunk contains in the mining dimension. So as we can see here, we have a really good amount of materials to get started on the next project. We got quite a bit of this amber. We got some diamonds, which is nice. I did take out some ore, so we would have had about almost 2 stacks of ore. We would have also almost had 1 stack of copper. So 2 stacks of iron, 1 stack of copper. I did take some out before, but everything else has not been taken out or removed. So we're going to get a pretty good amount of stuff here. And we also got some nether quartz, which I believe is added by Thaumcraft. So that's actually really nice. We get a pretty good amount of that, which is going to be very helpful for the next project. So I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of the stuff out of here. I'm actually going to go reset this to the next chunk and have it running. The tanks did pretty good. I'm going to need to fill them back up. And I'm also going to need to get some more charcoal. We actually ran out of charcoal, and so it was kind of being powered by this completely. So I would say all in all, 1 single chunk is probably I would say a little more than 2 stacks per coal generator, and most likely 1 1/3 of these stone drums worth of liquid being pumped into this machine here. So there's also much more room for improvement. We can definitely improve on this setup and make this a little bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get some stuff moved over. Definitely stuff I actually need a lot of is iron, copper, tin, and gold. I am gonna get some lapis and the diamonds as well, and probably that. And everything else I'll come back for later. So I will be able to upgrade my luck on my dark pickaxe, which would be nice. So back over on the other dimension, I have been doing a little bit of just cleaning up stuff. I have some drying racks here, just getting some food. Kind of running low on food. I'm not running low on it, it's just a pain to make. We're cleaning up, making some room for more things. And I'm going to start building some base style stuff very soon. I just wanted to get the storage thing sorted out before I actually go that route. But this has been doing really well. I have everything being pumped into here. One thing I did change is I actually added potatoes, and I actually turned off the lock. And so what's going to happen is that either everything else is pretty much full. The one thing that I'm having a problem with is the seeds, which I'm 15 now. And I'm having to switch between seeds and potatoes. So I figured that'd be a good route to go, is just have this whole thing unlocked. Only 1 stack, so like only, if there are red mushrooms in here, there's an empty slot, only red mushrooms will stick in this 1 slot. So you won't have 2 slots of red mushrooms in it, which is nice. So it kind of filters itself as well. So if you have multiple items being pumped into here, only one type of item will take up that spot. So this is actually doing really well. I think I've solved all the issues with the drawer controller pumping everything into here and everything in the back being pumped out directly into this. And I can now get quite a few drums full of liquid from this without draining it too much. And these are all locked. I did lock these all down, so only, potatoes will come in here. Only seeds will go in here. So if they ever do drain out, it won't fill up with something else, which is something you actually want to do as well. And another thing is, so I did put some upgrades into some of these key items, especially the seeds here, as well as the 2 saplings and this sapling as well. I'm probably going to start voiding these after a while. And of course, we have tons of wood. Wood you can use in other things. We can, besides charcoal, making charcoal with it, we can actually use wood for other things in the future. And I think this is full. Yeah, this is full. I need to actually upgrade these as well, because that'll start backing up here. I am getting sugar cane as well. So I'm gonna get some sugar cane for other things. So this is what we're doing. I'm just trying to provide multiple resources and get them going in an automated fashion, which is pretty much what modded Minecraft is. You're just automating the gathering of resources, and then you're building. And so we're kind of in that stage of gathering the resources, and then now we're going to work on storing the resources. And so with that, there's actually the two main mods for that, which is Applied Energistics, which we did in the previous set of Feed the Beast Revelation episodes. And then we now have refined storage in this one. And so as we can see, we have refined storage, and refined storage is a little simpler, and it's simpler in two ways. Applied Energistics does require you to deal with channels, so only so many devices can be set on one channel and one network. So you have to have different types of cables in order to handle that. Well, in refined storage, you don't have channels to deal with. Everything that's on one network is all connected, which is a good and a bad thing. The bad thing is that if you have multiple sets of storage devices on there, you have to do some there are ways to deal with it, but you have to actually spend some time and separate things kind of physically through that. You also do lose some functionality, especially with Applied Energistics add-ons. They had some really cool functionality with that. We do have wireless crafting in here, so we can actually use the wireless crafting. Any other simple approach that refined storage has in it is that as far as storing items, with Applied Energistics, let's look that up. The storage devices only hold a certain number of items. So as you can see, we have 0 out of 63 types of items. And of course, we have the bytes as well. But if we looked at refined storage, we notice that their items just have bytes. So there's no types of items. So for instance, if we use the 1K storage disk, we could actually store, I don't know the exact amount of items, like 1 byte takes up, but let's just say 1 byte is equal to 1 item. So we can theoretically store 1,000 different types of items in this 1K storage disk. And so, but we can only store 1 of each, obviously, because that's the amount of storage we have. And so the neat thing about this, and the simpler part of refined storage, is that you can have more than 63 types of items per disk, which makes it a little bit simpler to plan for storage. You don't have to try to figure out, okay, so I'm going to have a lot of stone, so maybe I should put the stone in the 32K storage disks and let it fill up that, and then overflow, and so there's a little less planning that is required with this. So pretty much all you need to do to get started, which is what we're going to work on, is we need 4 things. We need, you can actually break it down to 3 things, but I'm going to deal with 4 things. So we're going to need a controller, and the controller does require a diamond, and it does require a decent amount of quartz enriched iron. So quartz enriched iron is just iron with a nether quartz. And so we're going to work on that. That's why I actually had to get the nether quartz. And I'm going to pop this in here, get some more iron going. And I don't want to have tin next to copper. That would not be good. And so we're going to get some iron going. I have a little bit of iron already saved up. And so we have the controller that's required. We have a some kind of storage device. I typically just go straight to the disk manipulator. Maybe not that. It's a disk drive. Sorry, disk drive. Manipulator is the transferring of, or emptying out of disks and filling up disks. But you need the disk drive. So we need the controller, the disk drive. We also need a disk. So we need to put a disk in there. So that's 3 things. I'll probably start with the 1K, since the 1K does not require any of these advanced processors. It just requires you to have this 1K storage part, which all that is silicone glass, and then quartz enriched iron. So these are really easy to make. And you can, I believe you can separate these. Maybe not. I thought you could separate the actual storage part from the disk. Maybe you can't, but we'll see. I'll see if I can find a way to do that. So, and the final thing we need is to have some kind of a grid. So the grids, or the simplest one, is just a plain grid showing us what we have stored in our inventory. You can go upgrade to the crafting grid, which will require a solderer. The plain grid does not, actually does require us to get a solderer. So I guess we need another component to actually get all this to work, which is the solderer. And that's kind of the most complex thing out of this whole mod, essentially, is the solderer, which is very easy to make, but it requires us to input stuff, and it's very similar to what Applied Energistics has, which was, what is that called again? Oh, it's the inscriber. Maybe it's, yes, the inscriber. So we're going to work on refined storage in this episode. And I'm going to start making these components. And when I get everything done, we'll talk a little bit more about how these things work together and how to expand upon them. But as you'll see, it's very easy to get this set up. We will need a power source, a constant power source. So what I might do is I might actually put it down here, or actually I might just run some power cables from here all the way into there. That's probably the best thing to do. So I'm going to work on that as well, getting us power into our main base, and then we'll be able to have storage to start throwing everything in there. And that's kind of the next step, is to get rid of all these chests and have a permanent home for a lot of the things. So I'll be back when I have completed those tasks. Alright, I'm back, and I do have the controller powered, the cables running all the way to that room over there down below, and I needed to have the controller. You also need to have a solder. So solder is going to get us the next two components, which is going to be the disk drive. So we can make the disk drive now, which is going to require chests, some more enriched iron, actually another machine casing. So it's going to be a lot more of this quartz enriched iron. And then we're going to need to make an advanced processor. So these are very simple to make. What we need to do is start running stuff through the solderer. So if I run silicone through the solderer, and by the way, the silicone that I'm using, there's multiple different kinds of silicone you could use. But if we look at the silicone that I'm using, it's the one from Ender.io. And so you can get that from either the Material Stonework Factory, which is beyond where we are right now by a lot. It requires getting pink slime. Or you can just take and you can sag mill different things. The one I'm using is actually, I'm just sag milling sand. And you get a 50% chance of getting silicone with that. This is probably the simplest recipe early on to get things going. And that chance is increased depending on what kind of boosts you have in there, which I'm actually just using regular old flint for that. But you can silicone clay. I'm sorry, you can sag mill clay and get silicone from that as well. But I'm just doing the simple sand one because sand is really easy to get at this point in the game. And so you're gonna need a couple of, I'm just gonna do like 4 of these. And so the solderer will convert the silicone into the printed silicone. That's the basis for all the different types of recipes. So what we're gonna need to do is make, for our drive, our disk drive, we're going to need one advanced one, which is going to require us to have some redstone and a diamond. So we can put our diamond in here. And then for the grid, that's going to require even more stuff. It's going to require some construction cores, which is just simple basic processor, which is an iron version. And we can also, we also need a destruction core, which is the nether quartz with the iron processor. And we're also going to need 2 golden ones as well. So that's the gold versions. So all in all, we're going to need, I think 5 of these silicone, printed silicone things. And we're going to need 2 of those, 2 golds. I'm going to need some redstone. Now I am concerned that my, I'm going to start draining that single. I do only have one generator powering my network right now, so I'm a little concerned about that. So we're gonna have to restructure some things whenever I get this up and going, and I can start storing stuff. I have to restructure some of my, like how things are situated in order to get a more centralized power storage system. Alright, so we have those. Now we can just take. Well, let's get the 2 gold. And we're gonna have, I'm just gonna put everything right here for now. The disk drive and then the grid. And I'm just gonna start taking stuff from below and bringing it up here. I could also, I guess, go with the higher storage drive, which is gonna require 3 different ones of these and then some iron processors. Now, one of the things I mentioned before was that, you know, instead of having these disk drives, you could just go with these storage blocks, which is going to once again require the storage part, but then you can just craft it into a block. It is a little more expensive, but you do get the flexibility of just keeping things stored in a single block that you can move around if you need to. But I think disk drive is going to be a little bit easier and a little bit better long term. Takes up less space. Alright, so now we have our 5 printed silicone, and we're going to start working on these now. So I'm going to need a glowstone, and I'm also going to need some quartz. Let's grab a glowstone and a quartz. Those are for the construction and deconstructing cores. And this will work with, we can set it up to be automated using the conduits if we needed to. Let's put these gold ones in there. Alright, so we can just take this and combine it with glowstone to get a construction core and a deconstruction core. And I'm ready to craft up some more of this iron. When you're starting off, you might as well just craft up just a lot of this stuff. This quartz enriched iron. Maybe a couple stacks. Because you will burn through it pretty fast. Alright, let's make a diamond one. I think this should be it. I think we should have everything we need to make all of our glass machine frames. Okay. Grab some more glass and some stone, glass. And let's put everything together. Alright, so the just the grid, not the crafting grid. We're gonna need 2 of these actually. Let's make 2 of those. And there's the grid. And the drive. We need a chest. Let's make that. Oh, I'm getting attacked. I'm gonna go sleep away the night as I grab some wood. Oh, I have wood on me. Okay. Alright, so kill that mob, and then we can continue on. That's a little bit of pain. Alright, so he's dead. Let's go ahead and craft us the rest of our components. So we're working on the disk drive. Yeah. Let's make a box. Chest. There we go. Alright, so let's put these down. As long as one of them's attached to the controller, we can just expand this on. It doesn't matter how the network's set up really, but now everything's connected. As long as something is attached to the controller, anything else you attach to those other components will be connected. So we have our crafting grid now, or I keep saying crafting grid, but it's actually just our grid. I do need a crafting grid to make crafting a lot easier. So now we can work on the 1K storage, which is going to be very easy to make. I'm out of redstone. I'll need some more glass too. How many of these can I make, I wonder? Make 3. That's how much? What do I need for this? I just need 4 of these. Might just go ahead and do the 4K. Might as well. Because the way this is set up, it's actually really easy to do the 4K drives. Since I don't have to worry about the number of items I can store in a single drive. I need 4 of these. Eventually you can automate this and have this all pipe in to a single output. Make it a little bit simpler for yourself. Which we will do in the future. Alright, so we're going to have those. We're going to have 4 of these. We should have our redstone on us. And the next thing we're going to need after that is... Okay, everything, we should have everything on us. So in order to make one of these drive bays, we need some more glass. Do I have any? Yeah, I have 2 glass. Just enough components to make this. Alright, so let's put that in there, that in there. 4 of those in there. We should have just enough components to make this. We can just build the storage housing while we're waiting. Alright, I'll be back when this is done. Alright, I'm back, and I actually decided to just make the crafting grid, because I actually have everything on me. I just need an advanced processor, a crafting table, and I can just take this grid, and we could throw it back in here. And we'll have our crafting grid as a result. Let me just craft everything from this one system. So let's work on... Okay, so it's almost done. You can upgrade these as well for speed. They're very easy to make, actually. I believe the speed upgrade just requires, yeah, sugar and the upgrade, refined storage upgrade device. And it's just these simple things. A little bit of gold involved in that. There we go. The crafting grid. I'll need to come... Let's go and craft this over here. Then we'll have a drive to store things in there. So we're going to make the 4K. We're going to combine that with the storage housing. And so I think, am I able to just shift click? Yeah, I can. So if you just control click on the actual combined disk, you will get your disk back, your housing back. So you can easily upgrade these if you needed to. You do want to make sure that's empty before you do that, because you don't want to put something, you don't want to lose anything that would be stored on the disk. I don't know if it'll let you do that or not. We could try that out. Let's just put a disk in there. We have a 4K. I'm going to put just one thing in there, an ancient ember, which, yeah, I really don't care if I lose. And yeah, so one item is only costs 1 byte or bit, whatever they store it in. So if we control click, yeah, it won't let us remove, it won't let us separate the drive from the storage part. So that is a good safety measure. But yeah, if you don't have anything in there, like this, then you could pull this out and you can separate them, thus allowing you to use this component to upgrade to the 16K. Because the 16K requires 3 4Ks. And of course you can keep going up and up as you go. And then you can just reuse the housing as well. So you can make your 16K and then combine it with the housing and have your 16K storage. So it makes it a little bit easier for upgrading items. So we have a lot of storage now, probably more than we're gonna utilize at this point in time. We also have our crafting grid. So I need to just keep an eye on power. But now I can go ahead and clear everything out, which is great because I am tired of looking for stuff. As I usually get probably like, you know, an hour or two into any new game. I'm usually tired of looking for stuff. And so this definitely speeds up that process. And you don't have to go find the meteors and all that stuff as well, which is nice. Ooh, there's an Enderman. Come here. Oh, got Ender Pearl. Nice. Yeah, so you have to go find the, like with Applied Energistics, you have to go find the meteors, and hopefully they have the right components inside of it to craft what you need to craft. This is just a little bit simpler. Alright, so that's going to be it for getting storage going. So we now have a storage device, and probably it for this episode. It's a little bit of a shorter episode, but it's good because we now have places to store all the stuff that we need to store, and we don't have to worry about having tons of chests laying around. So I'm going to work on getting things moved over into this system, and things that I'm not going to be needing, I'm just going to put it in here, and then we can start working on automating more and more. I'm also going to have to start building some walls and stuff so I can actually work outside, or in this little area at least, for the short term. So that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something new. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.